Sometimes in my work, I need to take these little side trips. I got another one I would put in the foil hat category, although it's very big, and that's the third eye. The problem is this: there really is a third eye. However, it is not the pineal gland. My name is Dan Paulson. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, I don't know if everybody knows. I'm not going to get into it. There's a whole big thing out there in what you'd probably find most of the videos on the Gaia channel. Just take that for what it's worth. You're going to find like somebody named Dr. Joe Dispenza that's doing all of this meditation, raise your frequency, clear the pineal gland for enhanced life. It's kind of like The Secret, only with a little bit of something added into it there. And you know what? He's very popular, but it's a big thing. He's not the only one. It was actually Descartes who thought that the pineal gland, because the brain has two hemispheres. There's a left and a right. Everything is balanced out except for the pineal gland. That's the only one it's by itself. There's only one. And he thought, well, that must be the home for the soul. That must be where the soul resides. And it's, of course, we know it regulates sleep by producing melatonin when it gets dark. And probably some other stuff I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to get into all of that. But the idea is this: as I read through the material and interpret it from antiquity, there actually is a third eye that needs to be cleared out. And it's a very interactive process. And it's not at all what they're doing. So people that are having effective changes when you do his meditation, yeah, I get that. But I'm going to tell you why that is. It's because you're meditating. It's a brain thing. It's what you believe in. It's what you're convinced of. If you're convinced that that is true and you meditate on that, it's going to work. If you are convinced of something else that is going to make you feel good, if you have that with conviction, go around the world. People that are praying or invoking something way in their own way, they're going to all be feeling better. But if you look at what they're doing, it's not what they're focused on. It's the fact that they're focused on something. It's happening in their own mind. So that I agree that you're having improvements. Yeah. But it's not because anything is happening in the pineal gland. It's something happening in the thought process that does that. And it happens with everybody. The belief is simply something that lets somebody hang on to something and gives them a path to guide along. But if you're really looking to clear out the third eye, we have to know what it is. And what do we have? We have our two eyeballs that we know that sees everything. But what we don't realize is these eyes are just an interface to the world. They don't do anything for us except gather information that we need and give it to our brain. Then something else has to happen. The third eye comes into play right there. Our perception. How do we perceive this data? We've taken our two physical eyes, gathered data. Now we're going to use the third eye, our mental perception, to decide what the quality of this is. And you know what? It's going to be based in emotion. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. So the quality of life for us individually is going to be based in our own personal emotional feeling. And that's because of, that is something whose quality is dependent upon the quality of life experiences that we have in our mind that we're living through. Those are the perceptions that are in the third eye. That is what has us clogged up. That's the moat that needs to be removed from the eye. This bundle of perceptions that have got me hurt, confused, conflicted, too many things going on, stuff I have to do that I don't like to do. Oh, we're not living in a happy way. We need to get rid of all of that stuff. All of that is the moat in the eye. And to clear it out is a very interactive process of looking at memories, perceptions, feeling them, and when they don't feel good, finding ways of addressing that particular memory again and again and again until it no longer hurts you, and then going and finding another memory and doing it again and again and again until it no longer hurts you, and continually going through that process. That is how we clear out the third eye. And the material, if you go through all of it and not read one or two verses and go, oh, there it is, Jesus says it himself. It's a body of work. Why do you clear out the moat? You have to go and interpret everything along the way. There's a sequence that's being followed, and somebody just yanks a verse or two out of it and goes, yeah, look at this. It's a body of work. You can't do that. And you know what? Anyway. All right. Well, I wanted to say that. I think that it can be a contentious subject. I get people posting things and it's such a matter of fact because it's like, you know what? I have this experience. Yeah, I know you had the experience. But guess what? Your hurt is still there. Whatever it is that you're that you want to live with, okay with, it's still there. It would be the same thing if you were in church turning it over to God. It might make you feel better for a little bit, but it's still there. Not until one turns inward to the memory and finds a way to resolve it on their own is that inward path taken. That's going to be, not very many people do it. And that is when you're clearing out the third eye, when you're not living through this massive memories that continue to cause conflict in your life, you've cleared out the third eye then. Yeah, that's the real third eye. Okay, I just wanted to say that. Fun stuff. It's important for people that are looking. I went down that rabbit hole. Let's try all this stuff. At some point you look at it and go, boy, there's something bigger going on. And when you get to the core of it, you realize, yeah, that's it. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. That's the Buddha. It's founded on our thoughts. It's based in our thoughts. That's right, verse 1 of the Dhammapada. That one's pretty plain language. You just have to look at your own life, actually. That they are authorities telling us something, but what are they telling us? You have to look at your own life and apply it to your own life experience. What is the third eye in my life? What does it do to have a calcified pineal gland or not, or change water sources, or all of those things? What does all that do? It doesn't do anything. When you look at your life, you go, yeah, you know what? I'm a bundle of my experiences. And the stuff that isn't good, it makes me feel bad. And if I find a way to make it so that it doesn't hurt me anymore, I'll stop feeling bad. I think it's important to illustrate the incredible commonality of this teaching right here, actually. Having an empty third eye, Jesus telling you to clear it out, and people now trying to do it, all of that. What is that? If it's that bundle of memories, who is all teaching this and how? All right, if you're a Buddhist, what are you doing? You're seeking nirvana. How do you do that? By achieving emptiness. What is emptiness? Emptiness is being devoid of all of these things that we've accumulated in life and being free of them. I am empty of the pain of those memories, and I am now free of them, and I live happy. I'm living in nirvana, a state of being, a mental state of being. Having a clear third eye is exactly the same thing. You would live in the glory of God. Here's a simple one from Jesus. It's Jesus' material is baggage ridden. It's kind of hard to find that the same teaching is in there because of what's happened to Christianity and how Christians have treated Jesus' teachings. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for yours is the kingdom of God. Poor in spirit, empty out. We're living through something in the background. We're living through our experiences, our bundle of perceptions. He's calling that the spirit. And when you're poor in that, life is blessed. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for yours is the kingdom of God. Jesus would teach us to, what is it? That you judge not, lest you be judged. That is us judging our life experience for the judgment with which we judge them. Oh, I hate this. This is a spiritual or a mental process, not a physical one. It's not about judging that person over there. It's about going, and that person in the past, I just want to shame. That's the judgment right there that we're living through. The stuff we try to hide away, the stuff that nobody knows about. It becomes very personal at that point. What is it that hurts you? Those are the things that are in place because we have a memory of them and the way that we're storing them emotionally. And it is the power of that emotion and the nature of that emotion, the frequency of it. I hate to use that term anymore, but that's exactly what it is. Shame is the same as shame. Hate is the same as hate. All of those, that's what I mean. There's slightly, somebody that needs to experience shame isn't going to be triggered by somebody that's, going to experience hate. Shame, that's what I mean right there. So the nature of what we're holding inside of us emotionally is what we're going to continue to experience. So we have to change that emotional state is how everybody does it. You have to address the memory and find a way to change the perception of it in such a way that it is no longer hurting you. We can identify incredibly specifically what the issue is and how to resolve it. And it tells us in the material. All the places where you find where I mean, Sheol is originally a place where things went that didn't get destroyed and it wasn't eternal. What is this? I won't get into all of it. There's a part of this teaching, though, that has a place located where bad things go and their power is removed from them. That reflects the memories. What that teaches us as we work through it is that we have a memory of an experience, and then we give it an emotional state because it hurts or it's shameful or whatever it is. We give it that unknowingly. We do that. Then that becomes a part of us. It grows. It gets bigger as life goes on. We can see that it's turned into something bigger and bigger, that is a part of the process. So it's the experience that happened in the emotional perception that causes the problem. We can't change the event. You can only change the emotional perception. That is what renders it ineffective. The memory is still there, only now instead of it haunting you, you're like, yeah, I'm rising above where I came from. And this is exactly what has to happen. You can't help where you came from. You can help where you're going. Let's do a mental experiment before I end this video to look at to raise our frequency. What they're doing. Let's do it without meditation. We're going to do it through a thought process. Sit down someplace when you've got some quiet time and just clear your mind, kind of settle down a little bit. And what I want you to do is think of your worst memory that you don't want anybody to know about, your most shameful thing. And go in your consciousness and bring that, feel it. Feel the experience of it. Feel the emotional experience of it. That would be considered your lowest frequency, your lowest vibration. What that really just means is feeling bad, living through the negative emotions and not feeling good, having a bad emotional state. I want a good emotional state. I'm living through the memories that don't feel good. That's a bad emotional state. Now, let it go. Move away from it. Go outside yourself. Imagine you're looking at planet Earth from space, that from out here, you can even see yourself down there, but you're not in yourself. You're down there, you're living, everybody's living down there. From out here, you see a bigger perspective. From out here, you're not attached to your emotions, your memories, your feelings. You're living from somewhere else. Out here, you're living at your highest frequency. This is not really a place to live. It's a mind state that is disconnected from the emotions. This part of you existed before your life came about. We emerge from here. Now we can get back to it. All of those memories are in the way. These are things, though, that when you look at it, if you're going to do some healing thing, you look at something like this and you have to decide whether or not that's true for you or not. You have to look at that and say, yeah, I think I see that process and what has to happen. I'm going to do that. You can't listen to somebody tell you what to do and you're like, yep, I got it all, the answer. The answer is, for the seeker, is somewhere in here. It's somewhere in here. It's from our source, not looking outward, looking inward, which is just weird because people that go to church say we look inward and they don't know what that means. They're feeling their emotions. We all do that. That's not looking inward. That's just feeling your emotions. Looking inward means looking at your life experiences. Who did what to you? What did you do to somebody else? What are you carrying? What do you believe? What is a part of your life that is not a positive part of your life that you want to get rid of? Sometimes you can just go after things that you know are there. Other times you just live life happy, and when something goes wrong, you go, okay, stop. Here's another thing triggering something from my past. I need to be in a place and with a person that's going to allow me to address these things. That gets damn hard. People get tired of issues sometimes. It's hard to heal with people that aren't healing. You almost need to have, some kind of a person on the outskirts. This is odd. There was a time where I had worked out with it's kind of not really a high-level psychologist. It was a counselor that had a lot of psychology background. And what I did is I convinced her to just be my sounding board. At first she's like, okay, let's sit down. Tell me where you're from, all that kind of stuff. Give me the background. And now about your brother. And I'm like, okay, stop. I'm way down the road. What I need is to talk out some issues here. I need a sounding board that is going to be an objective sounding board. So I actually paid her to listen to me and to give me ideas. And she was helpful in a lot of ways too. One of it was about acknowledging the old self, struggling with issues, struggling with healing, and going, I got something that just keeps coming up that I can't figure out. And that's where I developed the idea of chasing ghosts. That's where you go back into your memories and you find bits and pieces of yourself. You find your little self in the, hitting in the woods or wherever you are where you were hurt and you're sitting there crying. You go find yourself, or something is happening and you go find that person that's there. And if you start looking at and getting into and remembering that experience, you'll get caught up in the emotions of it. That memory is stored away right there just like that. And what you need to do is address that memory. You were not acknowledged at that time. Today you're like, oh, that shouldn't be bothering me. I know better than that. However, it was stored away and is still there without having been acknowledged. It's like a little virus that's acting out. You have to go pretend like what I would do is I would just pretend like I'm an adult self and I would go address my little self. It's just all happening in your imagination. I'm closing my eyes and little Danny, I'm telling him, hey, your life is going to be okay. Things are going to change, all of that. All you're doing is changing the state of that memory right there, which releases you from it. It's very easy to do, and it's very hard to do. It's a mechanically simple process, but it's emotionally difficult. We're scared of it. And I have to say, we have to be consistent with it and stick with it. Why? Because we lose patience with it, because the changes happen at the speed of organic growth. All right. Third eye, there you go. That's my take on it. And if you interpret the material, I think that's what you would find out. It's not my, I don't claim myself as an authority. What I'm going to say is that if you read the material and you make comparisons across all the masters from antiquity, you kind of get to this point right here. And you look at it and go, I can see how that would be my life and how I can interact with that to clear out the third eye. There is something that can be done that is very interactive, that is at a very deep level, that would be very emotionally difficult and traumatic to go through, but once done would be so purifying that you'd go, oh, why didn't I do that before? And the fear is over the top. I'm going to tell you, we evolved. This is the kind of fear. What's your levels of fear? There's at some point when you feel at your highest level of fear, that's the fear that we would feel if we're about ready to get, that lion is chasing you and it's this close. You can feel it. You can hear it. It's about ready to chomp. You're going to feel so scared when really it's like, you know what? It's not that bad if I resolve it. It feels that bad. You talk to people that understand, they're going to be like, man, oh yeah, happened to me too. I did the same thing. We're animals, aren't we? How do we evolve above this? Well, we recognize where we come from and we learn to let it go, or we don't rise above it. It's that simple. The fear will prevent us from rising above. It's up to you. It's up to each person. All right. See you in the next video.